Hi, everyone. Welcome to our Give Your Gram a Grade class. This class is going to be chock full of lots of information, but what I want you to get out of this is that we want to raise your awareness. I'm looking down at my notes. We want to hold you accountable and give you actionable steps to audit your Instagram so that you can raise the level of effectiveness of your content and engaging your followers, conversion rate, all of that. This is not something that we always do because we're like, all right, that's done. I'm moving on. It's hard enough to create all the content. But if you do this about maybe once every quarter, even if you do it twice a year, that's better than nothing. But as often as you can do this, the better the effects of your content creation will be. So let's dive in. I'm going to share my screen. We're going to go over here to the class, and we're just going to get this presented right now. Present mode. All right, so Give Your Gram a Grade is about looking at your Instagram account as it is right now and up-leveling the 4 or 5 main areas of it and reevaluating whether or not what you've said and what is there now is effective for the status of your business at the moment. So let's get started. 1 through 6. If you were to look at your Instagram right now, which smiley would apply? Just researching for this class, I was like, mine might be a 4. For even next chapter social, there were things that I wanted to change and that I did to align with the copy that's on our new website, picture upgrades, all that kind of stuff. So you'll see. But what I want you to do is just honestly grade your Instagram from 1 to 6 based on these smileys. And that's how effective you think that Instagram is for what you're trying to do. Is it an old resume? Is it a sad looking porch that hasn't been redecorated for the next 2 holidays and it's still like stuck back at summer and now it's winter? You need to refresh and renew and audit what you got going on. All right, so let's move on. Why reassessing and refining your Instagram strategy regularly is crucial for the healthy the health, I should not say healthy, the of your online presence. So let's just dive into that. Adapting to the ever-changing digital landscape is essential to your brand's visibility, engagement, and growth. So visibility, engagement, and growth. So those 3 things can't happen or happen less than they should if your Instagram hasn't been reassessed and refined. If you haven't audited it and up-leveled it with current information about who you are and what you do. And let's be honest, your first mission statement for your business was probably a train wreck. It wasn't real great. You've had like flashes of brilliance here and there, and you changed it here, or you say it now in networking meetings, but you forgot to put it on your Instagram. You want to make sure that that's aligned because your visibility depends on it. And we're going to show you about that in a second. Understanding the significance, why it's crucial to reassess and refine your Instagram strategy periodically. So 9 reasons why it's crucial. I don't know if y'all can see me up here, but I'm going to move me over to reassess and refine. Those 2 words are going to come up often. Your audience preferences change, and they change depending on the evolution of your business and where you're going. I know for me alone in my personal brand, Brookulen's Bungalow, started out as a crafty person. Then I started a subscription box that was nationwide. So I had a local audience, then a nationwide audience too. Then somewhere along the way, bingo came along, and that was back to being a local audience, but not crafty. Still the audience that came to the workshops, but now they wanted to play games and win prizes. So a little bit different audience that would come here, maybe crossover, but an additional audience that I needed to reach. So that's just a small snapshot of a few years of my personal brand and how those audiences changed over time. You need to adapt to the new algorithm changes that happen all the time. I don't know if you've noticed, but the reach that we're getting on Next Chapter Social with our reels is teeny tiny compared to where we were in the very beginning. And that's because things have changed and it's harder. And so, or different, it requires a different approach, not necessarily harder. The competitive landscape, you need to know what's going on and you need to compete with those people that you're competing against for the clients in your industry. If you're a home organizer, then you need to kind of look around what they're doing, what's getting a lot of engagement on their pages, and you need to save that information and recreate the wheel on yours. Content relevance. Sometimes we get stuck in a loop and we just do this one thing, or sometimes the things that we're talking about aren't necessarily relevant to our objectives anymore. So you got to realign. Performance insights, you got to look at that. What is performing? And at the very end, we'll talk about this. And if I don't, I'm going to say it now. You want to go back and filter your content in your insight section of your Instagram by reels, stories, and posts. And why you want to do that is because then you can look at your reels and you can filter it by reach. So it'll show you all your reels and the ones that reached the most. Those top like 6 reels are the ones that you want to recreate, because those are the ones that hit the mark. So that's the kind of content you need to create more of. Instagram comes up with new features. You've got to use those new features because Instagram's like, woohoo, we spent $1 million creating this new editing feature and so is using it. We're going to reward him or her. Goal alignment. What's your goal? Goal is like the word plan. They're both 4 letters and they might be a bad word to you, but your personal, I wrote this down. Your personal account has no intention. You get a pretty picture. You're like, oh, it's so beautiful. I'm going to post it. You have a picture of your kids or the cake you made or whatever, right? Your messy house. No intention other than I'm just sharing this. Business accounts need to have intention. Intention comes from, what is your goal? What do you want to get out of posting this? If you're just posting it and there's no goal behind it, then there's no intention and you can't measure the results. So you have to constantly know, what is your goal in your business? What are you trying to raise awareness about in your business, product, service, those kinds of things. Trends in the marketplace. Okay. B-roll is very trendy, but also trending audio. So you want to keep that aligned as well. And you just want to do this to avoid stagnation. So these are the 9 reasons it's critical to reassess and refine. Even if you have a baby account, it's easier to do this, right? But that avoid stagnation, I'm going to give you like a mental picture. My mom's mantle, okay, I love her to death, but her mantle had the same little dusty fake plant on it and this little hanging basket. It was just a whole boring little mess. But I went over there and surprised her one day while she was gone. I went and I just, threw up ball on it. And it was amazing, right? She came home and she walked in. She was like, oh, she couldn't believe it because I'd left. I was like a mantle fairy. Okay. And it was so beautiful that, 4 years later, her mantle still looks like that. Even if it's summer, it still looks like fall because she loved it so much. But it's time to reassess and refine. I need to take time and go over there and do this again. So that's what you need to do. You need to revamp your mantle so that people are like, wow, there you are, right? So it's very important. Let's move on. All right. Identifying challenges. Let's address common challenges faced by small business owners on Instagram. All right. Keeping up with changing social trends, identifying your ideal customer. That just feels like no man's land when we talk to clients. We're like, who's your favorite client? That's your ideal client. Is her name Sarah, Susie, Heather, Jack, Bob, whatever? Think about why you like him or her and name all their attributes. And that is the person you should be speaking to. But they're like, how? What do you mean? I want you to be specific. I want you to pretend like you have a picture. Now, this is a business card, but just take that little picture, tape it up to your screen, and talk to them. Understanding the content preferences of your audience. What do they prefer? And how do they prefer that content be delivered through reels, carousels, that kind of thing. Crafting engaging captions. That's a common difficulty. Selecting appropriate hashtags and even knowing if that's important or not anymore. And lack of growth, direction, or strategy. These are the little pitfalls that we help you overcome. And each one of these is like a 3-month coaching program. Okay. But we're going to try to help you get through some of these within this class. But we know that you struggle with these. Just think about the ones that you struggle with the most, probably down here and probably up here. I understand. Auditing your Instagram account. So this is what we are here for. Auditing your Instagram account is critical because it's the first thing people see when they visit your profile. Notice that we made this a storefront window, okay? The reason why is a well-crafted bio can attract new followers and provide essential information about you or your brand. Okay, let's talk about two things. One, I don't really know anything about, but I'm imagining, okay? So in New York, it's a big darn deal to decorate your store window at Christmas time. Okay. So those store displays attract clients into the store because whatever's going on in the window, people are like, wow, I love that. I want to go in and I want to see more. Okay. I'm actually going to talk about 3 things. The other thing is, well, maybe 2. Your front porch. All right. So we're right around Halloween and parents will drag their kids down the street and not take kids to the houses where the lights are off. There's no pumpkins. The door's shut. It's just no man's land. It's clearly not been updated for the season and they are not participating. You don't want your profile to be like that. You want Instagram, which is the mother of the followers, to lead their hands to your account because it's fresh, it's dynamic, it's been updated, it's changed it, it's relevant. Okay. So it's essential that your profile, and I'm going to show you very specifics, reflects who you are now and is updated regularly because when you update it, you're literally stepping into your account and turning the lights on. If you don't update it, eventually the light bulb burns out and Instagram gets tired of you. Okay. So you want to up level. It's like the window. Your bio optimization is the first thing that we're going to talk about. You want to be clear, recognizable, and the picture of you. Okay. So that's numero uno. Clear, recognizable. I wrote down that if your logo has got a lot going on and it's hard to read right off the bat, you need to edit it. You can use that version of your logo on other things, but in that tiny little circle, you want it to be very, very clear. And your picture, if it's you smiling, you want it to be where it's your face and it's up close. If you're teeny way back, people don't recognize you. They have to go get a magnifying glass to even see it. So you want clear, recognizable. And if you're a personal brand, you want it to be you. If you're a business brand, logo is fine, but your logo can't have a lot of crap going on in it, or it's not recognizable. Use an edited version. Utilize keywords. So you have two things going on here. You have your Instagram name, which ours is Next Chapter Social, my personal brand, Brookie Lynn's Bungalow, Angelin's personal brand, Angelin's Style. Okay, those are your Instagram names. That doesn't change. What does need to be edited here, and note, you can only edit it twice in 14 days. So don't screw it up, push save, and then like, oh my gosh, you have to really understand what you want in there and play with it off of Instagram until you get it just right. Then copy and paste it in there and save it, because you don't want to have to save something that you're like is misspelled or not exactly what you want, because you have to wait 2 weeks to change it again. So that dark highlighted line, ours says social media marketing. It says social media marketing coaches, because that's who we are. And that's social media marketing is a keyword that people are searching. So strategic placement of keywords in the profile name that enhance your discoverability. That bolded line is the number one spot that Instagram searches for keywords to categorize you and put you in front of the people that are searching for that. So you have to imagine what your audience is searching for, what words are they using to search, and use those words in your profile. Strategic placement of keywords in the profile name. Profile name is different than your Instagram name, and it enhances your discoverability. Clearly state who you are and what you do. If you have, for instance, Angelin's Style, okay, that's her personal profile. She's not going to repeat her name Angelin. She's going to say something about jewelry and style and things like that in her profile name, because those are the discoverable keywords. If you have a motto or a business name that nobody is searching, don't put it there, because you won't be found. Keywords go there. And also don't be too general. So let's say you're a content creator, or let's say you're an organizer of what, right? Pro organizer for high-end closets. Okay, that's specific. So someone that has a very high-end closet might want someone that is very good at organizing boots, accessories, bags, and clothes. So you might just specify. You might be a pro organizer for giant garages. Well, that's good. Or toolboxes, whatever. But be specific about what you are passionate about doing, and be specific. Don't get lost in the crowd. Value statement. So right now we're talking about one section of your Instagram, your profile area. You have your profile picture, your profile name. Now we have your bio. In your bio, people are inherently selfish and they are scrolling Instagram saying, what's in it for me? So in your bio, you need to state what is in it for your client. So free resources and social media guidance, that's what they're looking for. Okay, well, if I follow this account, that's what I'm going to get. So crafting a succinct but impactful value statement. That just means, what is your client going to get, or what is that peruser going to get if they follow your account? And that helps to engage potential followers. Your value proposition, value statement, same thing, serves as the foundation for all of your marketing efforts and defines what makes you different from alternative solutions. So what makes you different? Angela and I want to positively impact as many small business owners' lives as possible through high quality teachings and personal relationships. And I would say individual support. So high quality teaching, personal relationships, and individual support. So that is what makes us different. There's a lot of people out there that don't educate, that don't have relationships with the people, and it's just all digital downloads. There you go, done. We want to monitor our clients' growth and cheer them on and be an active member of their success, or play an active role in their success. So that is what makes us different. The formula for crafting your value statement or value proposition that you are going to put into your Instagram profile is you say this: I help identify your ideal client, back on that little roadmap, right? This is the problem. We help entrepreneurs, I would say overwhelmed entrepreneurs that need help with the pressing problem that we address, social media marketing, succeed by teaching them, coaching them, or doing it for them. Okay, that could be our value proposition. I think I wrote it on the next page. Okay, next chapter, social value proposition statement. We help entrepreneurs that want to harness the power of social media by teaching them how or doing it for them. Very clear. You only have 150 characters on your bio to get that across. This right here is what I rewrote because I was doing this class, and I put it in our Instagram, and now people can find us even better. And when they do find us, they are very clear about who we help. If they're not an entrepreneur, they'll keep scrolling. That's fine, because we help entrepreneurs. If you're not an entrepreneur and you don't need social media help, then we love you. You can follow us, but you're not going to be one of our clients. So, and we only want entrepreneurs that want to harness the power of social media, want to, but aren't, the insinuation here, by teaching them how, what I'm doing right now, and or doing it for them. So there you go. Remember, 150 characters. You can screw that up as much as you want and play with it inside of Instagram. You can edit your profile, I think, unlimited times. I've done probably 15 back and forths, and it didn't lock me out. So don't hold me to that, but I think that you can update and edit your profile multiple times. You want to include a call to action. So in one of the podcasts I listened to, and YouTube videos actually, that the call to action is something that you're okay with losing. So when you put the call to action, that's going to be the last line of your bio. Okay. Oftentimes people have to click read more to see that. Okay. But just your call to action can be get your freebie today or something like that. But it needs to entice them to click the button. If you can create a value proposition or a value statement that allows enough room for your call to action to show without clicking the read more, great. If you can't, it's important that your value proposition is fully visible. Your call to action to click the link doesn't have to be visible. It's just an added bonus. Encourage looky-loos. That's the tire kickers I refer to in all my classes, to take action, such as visiting your website, downloading your front door offer. Front door offer you would call a lead generator, maybe. It just means this little thing over here that gets people and that wets their whistle in working with you. So it might be free. A lot of front door offers are free or next to nothing. And that front door offer gets them in the door and then gets them on your email list so that you can then communicate with them further. And it's just a link in the chain. Subscribe to your newsletter. Our call to action right now, because we've updated and reassessed, join waitlist for social club, and the emoji that. I love that little emoji. I don't know why, but it tells people again, it's right there. It's clearly right there, but sometimes people just need help. Our Instagram bio. We help entrepreneurs that want to harness the power of social media by teaching them how or doing it for them. Join the waitlist for social club. There you go. That's our entire thing. You need to do that too. So you can see that I changed it. Marketing and social media training. That is our profile name. Got that a little bit wrong earlier from memory. Next chapter social is our business name. This dark line right here, marketing and social media training, that's what you can change twice in 2 weeks. So, make sure you get that right. We help entrepreneurs that want to harness the power of social media by teaching them how or doing it for them. Join the waitlist for social club down there. All right, content categories. I'm going to kind of rush through this. Choose the categories that are best aligned with what you do in your business. However, note this: if you're a business account, you have to have entrepreneur as one of your categories in order to access the entire Instagram library. So if you're going to fall on a sword, don't do it on the categories. Keep entrepreneur, because it's more important to have access to the full library of audio and therefore all the trending audio than to be categorized correctly and not have the audio. At the end of the day, if you are labeling yourself as a business account, you're probably an entrepreneur. So that category does fit. It's just a little general. So just make sure your value proposition and your profile name align with what you do, and you'll be good. So now let's talk about your content features, stories and highlights. This is so big. I have taken notes, and I want to make sure that I tell you the things that you need to know. Stories help you bond with your audience a bit more, okay? They help you bond with your audience. Utilizing stories to create engaging content, bonding with the audience, and curating highlights for perpetual impact. We're going to unpack that. It's a lot of words. But your stories help you bond with your audience, okay? And when those stories help you bond with your audience, they want to buy your things, because a bond equals a relationship. And when you have a relationship with someone, they'll pick up anything that you lay down because they like you. And if people don't like you, they'll find out in your stories, they'll go elsewhere, and your engagement rate will get better because they're gone. We'll talk about that in a second, but your stories need to reflect who you are behind the scenes and create that bond with your audience. And then your highlights need to contain the stories that triggered the biggest impact. So if a story garnered you more DMs than normal, people responded, "Oh my gosh, that's so funny," or whatever, or answered your poll question, you can filter your engagement by stories in the back end of your insights on Instagram. So you can look at your stories and see which ones in the archive got the most results. Those stories are the ones that should live in your highlights, okay? Also, another layer here, your story, once you know which ones are getting the most results, you need to double down on the format of that story and create more things like that about that subject, asking those questions, because that's what your audience bonds with. And then your story highlights, those categories should be filled with categories that make your audience happy and get them engaged. Frequently asked questions are a good one that we always talk about. But you answering those frequently asked questions has to come from a value intention. So if your audience is asking this question a lot, and you get it in business and in email and text message and all that, answer that in a frequently asked question, face the camera, have your camera up here, and you're answering that question and saying, Sarah asked me this question, and it dawned on me that I've gotten this question a lot in the last blah, blah, blah. And if you are feeling a little, on the fence about something, and you be specific, then let me help you with those fears. You're coming at it from their perspective, and you're saying to them, I hear you. Okay. So if Sarah's like, well, I'm afraid to pull the trigger because whatever, then if you're afraid to pull the trigger because X, Y, and Z, let me help you with that. So just make sure, and then create some sort of story sticker. Did this help you? Were you afraid of this? Question mark, yes or no, a poll, anything like that. So engaging content often has engagement stickers. I have copied and pasted a bunch of them here. Follow us, go to the next story. This one right here, I love toggling it over to the heart. Ask me a question, or you can ask a question and then they answer it. Tap here, because stories, you can include links, and you want to link back to something relevant about what you're talking about in the story. Check out my new reel that bounces them back to your feed. Swipe up if you have 10,000 followers or more. You can have the swipe up feature. That means when they swipe up, it actually goes somewhere. However, you can use the swipe up feature and hide a link behind it. Okay. So it looks like they're swiping up, but they're really clicking the link accidentally. So that's a little trick. Bonding with your audience. Stories help you bond with your audience because it allows you to show your personality. You see my personality teaching this class. I'm teaching a class and I'm not telling a joke, but the stories I use, the inflection, I must be Italian. I'm not, but I use my hands a lot when I talk, what I'm wearing, what's in the background, except for right now. Don't pay attention. I'm redoing my wall. It just really gives people an idea of who you are behind the scenes, a day in the life of, just your life in general, personal stuff, funny things, links. All of these things can be in your stories. And then the high performing ones need to be saved to your highlights. Highlight categories could be these things. I just took some from Canva to show you, but if you go to canva.com, type in Instagram story highlights for hairdressers, for realtors, whatever it is that you do, they have sets of categories and they suggest categories you should use. Okay. These are from all over. So these are a mess as far as the categories go. They're not for a specific industry, but Q&As, thoughts, like my personal thoughts, tips and tricks for whatever industry you're in. Could be plumbing or hairdressing or organization or pet grooming, whatever it is about you. Sometimes people just want to know who you are. So maybe you share some things that are about you. Your pets, you could have links to blog posts and post them in stories, with the top 3 takeaways or what I'm talking about on the blog, and then link to it, save it to your highlights. That way people click on blog and they can scroll through and they can find a blog that they want to read, and it bounces them straight to your website. So core feed features. So now we're working our way from the top to the bottom. All right. Top to the bottom. So far, profile, your profile image, your profile name, your bio, your call to action, your stories that are behind your profile image, and then your highlights. We've done all of that top stuff. Edit it, assess it, audit it, reevaluate it. Now, your core feed features, we're talking about your feed. Ensuring high quality visuals, proper use of audio and reels, and experimenting with formats that capture attention. Angeline and I have a new format that we're going to start. Her first one doesn't come out till Thursday, and then I've got some after that. But we're going to repeat this formula over and over again because we have found that virality, going viral, has everything to do with finding a format and sticking with it. Finding a format that works and it performs well, and then repeating that format in your reels over and over again, or your carousel, or whatever that is working for you. That has to do with auditing the content on your feed, which is what we're talking about. So strategic carousels, they apply the AIDA model. What that means is your first page, or that one that is the cover photo, gets their attention. That's called a hook. Okay. The next one is piques their interest. Oh, okay. And then the third one talks about what they're desiring. You want help with this? Do this. Okay. And then action is the do this. So you have 4 pages, and the first one is attention, the second one is interest, the third is desire, and the last is action. This is a very effective formula. Think about something that you teach or whatever, or want to inform them about, and come at it from an AIDA model. Captioning, adapting your caption length is based on the target audience's preference. Some people on my personal brand, miniature blog posts on my Instagram work well, and ensuring inclusivity with closed captioning. Okay. So I wrote this down, and okay. If you are providing anything of value with your voice, it's a voiceover, it's a face to camera, whatever, not trending audio with words in it. Okay. Not that. But if you yourself are saying something of value, whether it's a voiceover or face to camera, always use captions. That is the rule. Always use captions, because, and this is so interesting, Instagram is a natural audio off platform. That means all the audio is naturally off. It defaults to off, and the bulk of the users prefer to consume Instagram content with volume off. That is opposite than TikTok. TikTok is a naturally audio on platform. So just note that Instagram, if it's audio off and you're speaking something of value, then the captions need to be on, because the person viewing it is more than likely reading it. And if there's nothing to read, then they keep scrolling. You're analyzing your followers and your engagement. Audience health check. This is actually a large portion. There's a little too much, I think, about this. But I want you to know that it's important for your engagement rate, and not because you're some big influencer and creator that needs to pitch yourself to some brand and say, my engagement rate is 492%, whatever. No, the higher your engagement rate, the higher your reach. The more engaging your stuff is based on the engagement rate that the Instagram algorithm is reading, then the more they'll let people see your stuff. If you have a bunch of followers that aren't engaged on your account, i.e. bots and dormant accounts, then you want to audit your followers to reduce them, reduce your followers, audit your follower list to people that are more engaged with your account, because your engagement will go up. If people aren't engaging with your stuff, they aren't seeing it anyway. Just know that. And this is also the case. You might have heard something similar to this when you are scrubbing your email list. You scrub your email list of people that aren't opening your stuff, and your engagement rate and your open rate go up. You're basically reducing your audience like you would balsamic vinegar. You put balsamic vinegar in a pan and you let it simmer, and then the liquid evaporates and it gets more concentrated and better, and you can sprinkle it on stuff or whatever. It becomes richer and more it's more effective. So how to identify fake followers. This is just a quick checklist. They have, they're liking and commenting too much. And I know that sounds stupid, but they're like, the things that they're saying is not important. For instance, in relevant content, a comment is like beautiful picture. And it's like, the undercarriage of a car or something like that. Or profile picture and bio are missing. They're sending you spammy direct messages. Their use of hashtags, they tend to have the same hashtag over and over again, or they're inconsistent in the content quality. You can kind of look at their account and know if they're fake. These are just some like, kind of vague ways, but this is what I look for. No profile picture at all, or 0 followers or 0 posts, but they're following a bunch of people, and the irrelevant comments. That's pretty standard. If you have like 300 followers, this is going to be easy. If you have 100,000 followers, it's going to be harder. But there are some apps out there that can help you scrub your audience, but they don't do all of these things. So if you just check your audience every once in a while, this probably won't really be applicable to a lot of the audience watching this class. But your audience health check does become more important the bigger that you get, because again, you don't want bots screwing up your formula or your engagement rate. There's a perfect example of a bot. Ghost Instagram followers are usually inactive or abandoned accounts that have little activity. These accounts will never interact with your content or help boost your growth. Matter of fact, they hurt you, so you don't want them on there. To get rid of bots in Instagram, it involves manually reviewing the profiles, images, bios, and recent posts of 20 to 25 accounts per hour, removing inactive followers and spam bots. Again, I did this for our account. It took me maybe 5-10 minutes to go through, and I just was looking, and there were plenty of people that I recognized because our account is relatively small and our followers, because we do this regularly. So you do this too. Don't worry about your follower account. It's more about your engagement rate. It is challenging to accurately understand your audience, leading to a decline in performance because of ghost followers and Instagram bots. But to maintain your reputation and cultivate a genuine follower base, meaningful engagement, it's crucial to remove fake Instagram accounts. Just to hammer it home again. Remember, at the very beginning, I said that we want to raise your awareness of auditing your Instagram account. We want to hold you accountable for doing it, and we want to inspire action on your part to go in and revamp this. It's not as hard as revamping your resume, but it's equally as important. If your resume is from 2004, then I guarantee you've done some stuff since then. So your Instagram needs to be reflective of who you are today, even if that's changed since last week. This is where I kind of geek out a little bit. And so you're going to want to screenshot this. If this is important to you to figure out, this is something that you can do after class, or you can pause right now. The engagement rate calculation, understanding traditional and reach-based engagement rates. There's two. There's the traditional, that's the industry standard, and then the reach-based engagement rate actually gives you a more accurate depiction of what your actual engagement rate is, and interpreting the industry benchmarks and tracking your personal progress. So what I want you to know here is it's impossible to compare your engagement rate to like Justin Bieber's or whatever, because, and I wrote this down too, if you have 0 to 5,000 followers, which is where we're at with our business brand, Next Chapter Social, an engagement rate of 6% is about the industry standard. So 6% of your followers engaging with your content is standard. If you're 5 to 20,000, which is where my personal brand is, 3% is standard. So notice the more followers you have, the lower that becomes. If you have 20,000 plus, 2% is the standard. So don't compare your engagement rate with other people, especially not other people that have more followers than you, because it's not a comparable. You need to compare yourself with where you were last week or last month or last year. Compete with yourself, not others, and just try to get better for your own account. So this is the industry standard. You're going to, in order to calculate your Instagram rate, likes, comments, shares, and saves. You can find all of that in your Instagram insights or on individual posts, but you can do this in general. Okay. So when you go to insights in your Instagram, that top portion, it shows engagement and reach and followers, all that. Get those numbers, add them up, and divide them by the number of followers that you have at that moment. Multiply it by 100, and that is your engagement rate. That's your industry standard. Screenshot this. Okay. This is that the way that some people, the more advanced marketers do this to get a more accurate depiction. So they take their likes, comments, shares, and saves on a reel, divided by the number of views, and then multiply that by 1,000. And that gives a more accurate depiction and a more micro depiction. The other one was more macro. This is a bigger number, like taking more into account. And this is more granular. So this is on a reel. You take your likes, comments, shares, and saves, divided by the number of views, and multiply it by 100. Screenshot that. Okay. So content strategy and intention. So y'all have heard me talk about this slide and the next slide. Content strategy is the overarching plan for content creation and management. Blah, 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 blah. Basically, what are you focused on? Okay. Every single month, like Social Simplified, our $9 marketing plan that we send out every month on the 20th, the very first box on that worksheet says focus. What are you focused on? Are you focused on getting more followers? Are you focused on raising your visibility, your engagement rate, your reach? That could be your focus. Your focus could be talking about your new product launch, or maybe a new product is coming out with your company or something that you sell. Or maybe you have a new service you're providing, or maybe you're going to be at an event at the end of the month. So whatever it is that your focus is, write that there. And then the 9 posts that you create on Social Simplified need to have that focus and be about that thing some way, somehow. All the prompts that you answer, work that focus into that post. The second box on Social Simplified is your goal. So content intention is the specific goal or purpose behind the individual piece of content. So you have a focus, and then you have a goal, and you can have an overarching goal for the month, but you really need to have an overarching goal for each individual post on, like, Social Simplified, for instance. And I keep mentioning that because that's a content plan. If you don't know what that is, I will link it in the show notes here. But either way, whatever your posts are about, the focus also need to have a goal. The intention is about the goal. When you have a goal, then it's easier to measure. Again, back to the personal brand and the business brand. Personal account and the business account. Your personal account, you have no intention or goal. It's just like, oh, my kid, he is great, right? On business, you're like, Social Simplified drops on this date, whatever, sign up today, or don't listen to that, but you understand. There's a specific reason why you're posting, because you're hoping that your audience will get something out of it and take action. The goal is the action that you want them to take or to know about. Effective and clear content strategies consider the audience and business objective. They guide the creation of meaningful and purposeful content. So you need to know what your focus and your goal is, so that that forces you to have one. Again, awareness, you need to have them. Accountability, you need to do that. That's your action. Then all of your posts need to have that framework in mind. Social Simplified is 9 posts, okay, in a month. 9 of your posts need to have intention and goal. The other ones, I call them default posts. If you want a default post, they'll still probably have a goal and intention behind it if it's on your business account. Even if it's just to entertain your audience and create a bond, that's still a goal and an intention. when you post about your kid on your personal brand, you're just like trying to wow your mom with joy, right? So let's just watch this really quick because I'm going to end with this.
Must be this. I know how to feel.
So I realize that you probably can't hear this, but at the end of this scene, which I'm just going to kind of go past, he said, he's alive. He's alive. And I want you to go to YouTube and watch this. But at the end, he sees ET's heart start to glow. Okay. And he walks out, he's being drug out, and he's looking back, and there's a dead plant, okay, that's like the mantle at my mom's house. And it's like, right. And all of a sudden it goes, and it's a beautiful plant again. That is your Instagram profile. I want your Instagram profile to come alive and be like ET in that plant in this famous scene. I'm showing my age, but I went to the movie theater to see this movie. So anyways, he's alive. Go Google this on YouTube or search it up. And it is a great moment. And you see ET's heart come alive, and it's so awesome. That is your Instagram profile. Audit it, reassess it, bring it back to life like those plants or those flowers, and everybody it'll enhance your experience on Instagram, enhance their experience, and increase your engagement rate, okay? Because you have reinvigorated your account. So thank you so much. I appreciate you. And we will see you soon.